Hi, welcome back. So, today I want to talk about the three attachment styles that can have a huge effect in your life, in someone else's life, or in a relationship. Attachment styles are styles that we have developed from childhood and developed it into ourselves, into our conscious and subconscious mind that we project and reflect out into ourselves, into relationships. And I want to speak about the main three that are the main issues when it comes to relationships. The first one is anxious attachment style. So, people with this attachment style have developed this from childhood, from their caregivers or their parents, from the inconsistency of love and support that they received. Sometimes they would receive the love and care, but then on the other hand, there would be moments where they don't receive any at all. And this can be a little bit confusing and very inconsistent, leaving the child to wonder what's going on, feeling uncertain that their emotional needs and support is going to be met or unmet because of the inconsistency of love and support that they are actually receiving. It's like the child is on a roller coaster, going high and low, receiving the love, but they're not receiving the love, receiving the care and support, but they're not receiving the care and support. One minute they're feeling that connection, the next minute they're feeling a bit lost, abandoned, neglected. And this is how someone develops this attachment style. They're just so confused of what's going to come. One minute someone's going to love me, the next minute they're not. One minute I'm getting the love and the cuddles, and the next minute I'm neglected and abandoned. And this stems to adulthood. In any relationship, this is the pattern that will continue until it is healed. How does this affect a relationship? Tend to fear that they will be abandoned by their partner. And this is what stems clinginess, reassurance, and just constantly needing attention because of their childhood of the roller coaster. They constantly need validation, they constantly need reassurance that they are actually loved. When in a relationship, this person may start to show signs when their partner is really busy or really distant and reflect by showing anxiety, depression, and desperation, as well as insecurity. When starting a new relationship, they may be very avoidant to commitment and scared to let their emotions out and to get attached because they fear of rejection, they fear of abandonment. But then once they actually get into a relationship, this can also lead to them being overly dependent and overly emotionally attached. And this is where it can come into where someone can be very needy, very attached, very clingy, because they fear that they're going to be abandoned and that they're going to have to experience the same roller coaster of emotions that they had as a child. So, this can play a massive issue in relationships. So, it's good to understand if you have this attachment style. The first thing is acknowledging that you have this attachment style. Understand that this has stemmed from a childhood, from your childhood, and it's something that you have to do the inner work on. If you feel highly sensitive to rejection and emotional distance, maybe become very jealous, over dependent on your partner, or you overly want to please your partner, then this attachment style is you or is someone that you're dating or that you know personally. How to get over and fix this attachment style is one, acknowledge that you have this attachment style, and two, do the self esteem, self love building work inside of your child, of your inner child. The next attachment style is the avoidant. The avoidant attachment style is someone back again as a child who had their parents or caregivers around but didn't receive the emotional support. They would have been neglected, unresponsive from any emotional love or care. The child would have had their emotional support dismissed, rejected, and also ignored, which made the child themselves have to rely on their own self and also avoid relying on others, especially their own parents. It's very difficult for a child to have sustained this because, again, as a child, we are like sponges and we have to go through that stage of life to absorb everything. We are like a sponge right up till the age of, say, 11, where we're observing everything in our world, watching our parents, feeling the emotions, the support. And every child should receive that love and support. But not every caregiver, not every parent can do that due to certain circumstances, what goes on in their life. And the parents may also have deep inner wounds they need to heal as well. So they can't actually love their children or show their children love and support because they didn't get that. And a lot of the time, the child will try get that love and support, but the parent may not be able to do so. Maybe the parent is just not available all the time, and maybe the parent is getting someone else's attention, which pulls the parent away from the child, and the child has to defend for themselves. The child has to understand that, well, my parents, my caregivers can't give me the love and support I need. So I'm going to shut off and just rely on myself and just know that I shouldn't expect that. I shouldn't expect the love and care. So the child will go on into adult life with that same belief because they have developed that belief as a child. And to dismiss a belief, it is a lot of work because as a child, we carry that belief through many years. So we have a long time to change that belief. As an avoidant individual, you or another person will suppress your emotions, become very independent, become very distant, and this will cause many problems for yourself or another person to actually open up and become vulnerable and seek the love and support, as well as the connectual bond of intimacy. How can an avoidant attachment style cause problems in a relationship and to commitment? Avoidants tend to avoid any commitment because they feel like they're going to lose their independence and associate closeness with suffocation, of being overwhelmed in a situation that they're not used to, with the emotions fulfilling around them that they never experienced before. And they actually fear feeling that overwhelmness, feeling like what they felt like as a child. The fear will stem to the overwhelming feeling that they will get for commitment, which pushes them, which makes them run, which makes them back away, pull away, and become emotionally unavailable. If you're dating someone or if this is relating to yourself and you or this other person starts to pull away when you start to feel like the other person, or if you're dating or in a relationship, starts to just give you so much love and care and support, and they're trying to pull you in because they just want hugs and kisses and cuddles and touch and go on trips and kind of just go over the top. And this is very overwhelming for the avoidant, and that is when they start to pull away. They have difficulty to express their emotions and open up to the vulnerability of their hearts which will make the other person feel rejected, feel confused, feel dismissed, because they're not actually getting the response that they're looking for from the avoidant, because the avoidant doesn't know how to express their emotions, because they haven't had that experience in their life on how to express. They don't know how to express because they couldn't mirror that from their parents or caregivers. So it's kind of a new thing for them. And the only way that they're going to express is if they pull back and not express at all. A lot of the time, an avoidant will usually have short relationships because of the fear of commitment and the lack of emotional depth that is given or expressed in the relationship, because they feel they cannot fully engage in their emotions and express themselves. And this causes a lack in communication, a lack in love and intimacy, and this causes confusion in the relationship, making the other person wonder if they're actually good enough and question themselves. When they actually get confused, they start to pinpoint themselves and be like, oh my God, this person doesn't love me. They're not expressing their love to me. They're pulling back. And then it just makes the relationship very conflicting because this avoidant can't and doesn't know how to express their emotions, making the other person question their own beliefs and their own self and their only self-worth, causing this huge problem in the relationship. Because there is no emotional demand, the relationship is going to become an issue because you have an avoidant in the relationship that cannot commit or express their emotions because they show themselves more emotionally distant than emotionally engaged. So if you are a person that you know, or you're dating in a relationship, if they or yourself tend to pull away, feel emotionally detached, don't know how to express your emotions, when someone tries to take 2 steps forward towards you, but you take 2 or 10 steps backwards, or a particular person is doing that to you, this is an avoidant attachment style. This is an avoidant attachment style that has been developed from childhood. A way to help an avoidant attachment style and to start to heal is obviously, again, going backwards to heal the child, heal the inner child, and also work on expressing your emotions, express being vulnerable, as this is needed to help move forward and develop healthy relationships and develop the love and the care and support that you can get that you didn't get as a child. Again, this cannot be healed in a day, a month, a year. It takes continuous time to heal. But once you acknowledge the attachment style, that is stage one. You're already 1 step ahead. You just have to keep going. The last attachment style is disorganized. People with a disorganized attachment style have experienced trauma in their life, trauma in their childhood, and inconsistent care from their parents or caregivers during childhood, which stems to abuse, neglect, and again, significant trauma stayed with the child. While there would have been other times where they received attention, but in a confusing and chaotic manner from either their caregivers, guardians, or parents within the childhood. This organized attachment style will make someone crave and want intimacy, but then at the same time, they fear and feel terrified of the thought of intimacy. They would have a history of unstable relationships, having emotional outbursts and erratic emotions and reactions. This attachment style often leads to unpredictable behavior in a relationship. 1 minute showing consistent love, the next they're pulling away. During their childhood, their past has proven and taught them that love can be dangerous and unpredictable, meaning that this attachment style is always on their mind. They're always going to be on the lookout of what can happen, what can go wrong next. Again, it's very similar to other attachment styles, but this one can be very similar also to having a roller coaster, being very clingy, but then swinging instantly to a different emotion, expressing a different behavior pattern. Because one minute the person is acting one way, the next they change and go the other direction in their behavior and emotions. Because of the attachment style, this is why it's called disorganized. They know how to flip the switch, they know how to change because the fear triggers them, and then they get pulled the opposite direction. They want the love, but then they fear the abandonment, they fear the vulnerability. This is a problem because the emotions aren't stable, they're irregulated, and this can cause a lot of problems in a relationship because the other partner will be very confused to how this person can just shift their emotions and shift their behavior, which can lead to becoming out of control. A lot of the time, they will sabotage their own emotions and security due to the thoughts in the mind, due to the trauma and abuse that has happened within the childhood, within the child itself in their life, from the parents, the caregivers, or the guardians. This is going to flash back into the child's mind or into adulthood with the constant flashbacks, resulting in the emotional unstable relationships, the mood swings, the behavior changes. And this is something that can turn into other medical issues, resulting in needing therapy, seeing a psychiatrist, because the abuse, the trauma that has been stemmed in the childhood, depending on the level, is not as easy to heal and not as easy to fix because there's a lot of inner work and a lot of work to do. Because one, you have to heal the child abandonment, the neglect, the abuse. And then on the flip side, you have the trauma, which is a lot more work to do. So if you have inconsistent behavior patterns, you crave intimacy, you crave love, you crave that relationship, but then you fear and feel afraid of the intimacy, the love, or maybe you struggle with trust and regulating your emotions, then this is an attachment style that you may have or someone you know may have. Again, this attachment style would need a lot more work than just doing the inner healing because of the trauma that has stemmed in the childhood. However, taking yourself to a quiet and safe place, working on building a stable, healthy relationship, working on stabilizing your emotional patterns and behaviors, going through therapy, seeing a psychologist, doing the inner work, this is something you can heal. Now, I am not a psychologist or therapist, but I can give my opinion and can give my outlook on these three areas of attachment styles. And if you feel as though you have one of these attachment styles, or you know someone that has this attachment style and it's reflecting onto you, you're dating someone, you're in a relationship with someone, you're married to someone with one of these attachment styles, then again, what I'm going to say is the first thing is to acknowledge and then to move ahead with the steps to healing, to going through the stages, and just working on yourself or working on the other person. By working through past experiences, communicating more openly with your partner, with yourself, you can create a more loving bond and you can both work together to heal one another or just one alone to get through these attachment styles. But it all comes down to time. I hope this has really helped. I will be going through a lot more in regards to child abandonment and relationships, so please stay tuned for more.